Welcome to Don't Do Disney
Without Us.
My name's Daniel.
And my name is Zach.
And welcome back to our show. This is episode number 6. I'd tell you the pithy title that I came up with, but honestly, I don't do that until editing. So I don't know. Hopefully you enjoyed the pithy title this week.
I don't know what the title is until he sends the link to me to talk about that we've put it out on the YouTubes.
Maybe we'll make this one a pithy title. We'll just call it a pithy title. Anyway, it's not important. Before we get into our regular format of the show, which is to tell you about things that are coming up this week and then talk about, we're going to change the middle of the show, but we talk about a big thing and then we give you our heroes and villains of the week. I've kind of changed the middle of the show. Originally, the concept was we were going to talk about things coming up in the coming week, but that's getting to be more and more difficult. And I've decided, no, this should just be the meat of the show. This is the discussion portion of the show where we're just going to talk about things that we want to discuss, right?
Yeah.
So sandwiched in between things that are coming up this week, a short hit on things that are coming up this week, and our heroes and villains, it makes a nice little Disney sandwich right there for you to consume.
So what about our listeners and viewers who may be a vegetarian? You can't call that section the meat.
It's the impossible section of the show. But before we get into any of that, we do have a correction. In last week's show, I repeatedly, not just once, but repeatedly referred to the restaurant at the Grand Floridian as Victoria's and Albert. Instead of Victoria and Albert's, I have no defense on that other than speaking extemporaneously is hard. And I tripped up on that. Also, she was the queen, right? He was just the consort. So I figured, it's her restaurant.
I hope you're right about that. Otherwise, somebody's going to call you out on that now.
Queen Victoria and Prince Albert?
Okay, that's fair.
Anyway, I'm assuming that's who it was named after. By the way, unless I don't even know that. It's like the restaurant could literally just be named after like Victoria and Albert
Smith.
Yeah, Swanson or something. I don't know. Of the frozen food empire. I don't know. Anyway, coming up this week in the Disneyverse, the single rider lines are now open for Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure in Disneyland's California Adventure. Wow, that's a big mouthful right there.
Disneyland's California Adventure?
Disney's California Adventure, DCA. I was going wrong.
Isn't it just Disney California Adventure?
Didn't I just say that?
No, you said Disney's California Adventure.
DCA. Anyway, if you're a California resident, which we're not, so we don't get to enjoy the Marvel characters in the park, but you now have a single rider line for Spider-Man.
Not necessarily true anymore.
What is not necessarily true?
That we don't get to enjoy Marvel characters in the park.
We don't get to enjoy good Marvel characters in the park. We get Guardians of the Galaxy and what? That's it. That's all we get.
You have a problem with Groot?
I'm just saying, I'm an Avengers guy, right? Give me my Captain America. Give me my Thor. That's what I want. Go ahead. What's next on the list?
But before I do that, would you be in favor, not that it will ever happen, because Universal will never sell those rights back to Disney.
Don't say never.
Universal will likely never sell those rights back to Disney. You
got to remember, the Marvel contract that Universal has is pretty airtight, but the Simpsons contract that they have is not necessarily that airtight. So Disney could just take the Simpsons away as a punitive kind of either you give us, joint custody of the Avengers or we're going to take the Simpsons away. And that's the stupid thing. It doesn't have to be an exclusive, right? Both parks could have, I just hit the microphone. Both parks could have the Avengers without it really affecting anything. Universal has the comic book Avengers and Disney does the movie ones. There you go. Problem solved. World peace.
Would you be in favor of them retheming the Hollywood Tower Hotel into Mission Breakout? Or do you think they could not get away with that because that's the icon of Hollywood studios?
It wouldn't be that easy because unlike the other Tower of Terrors, Florida's has a different ride system. They have a piece that goes forward and it does, so you don't drop in the same corridor that you go up in. It's a more complicated ride system. So they would have to come up with they can't just replace the video screens like they did in California. They would have to do more work than that to adapt it. But yeah, I would like to see that because let's be honest, the Twilight Zone is a 70-year-old franchise. How many kids know what the Twilight Zone is? I feel like that was a weak purchase Eisner.
It's overstayed its welcome.
It has. Anyway, go ahead to the next one.
So Disneyland Paris is bringing back in-person, not distanced, able to touch the characters and hug the characters.
But not inappropriately.
Yes. Character meet and greets on April 1st.
April 1st, Disneyland Paris gets to have your meet and greets. We have modified meet and greets in the States, but they're let's take a selfie with a character in the background, right? They're kind of, you can shout at them. Yeah.
The fact that at least one of the international parks has brought these back. I guess the question is, when are we going to get it, Disney?
Yeah.
I know everyone's concerned about that new BA2 coronavirus variant, but I mean,
it doesn't mean they can't go back.
Right.
Yeah. But I would like for us to have our meet and greets. I'm going to be honest with you here, because the next piece here is that Disneyland Paris is also getting character dining back on March 31st. So once again, the characters will invade the dining room and harass you at your table. Now, we were just talking about this the other night. I wish that they had some kind of card you could put on your table that said, "No, thank you, please." Like, I've had my fill of characters.
Right.
Not so much. I love characters. Don't get me wrong. But when I'm eating at, let's say, Garden Grill, and Mickey has come and talked to us, and Pluto has come and talked to us, and Chip and Dale have come and visited us, I'm kind of done. I don't need Mickey to come again. And, when you have a chatty party eating at Garden Grill, you can end up with all the characters coming by 3 times. And it's really kind of, go spend time with more guests that are not us. The worst part is that the way Disney works their characters, it's not the same actors coming out every time. So if you told Mickey something the first time around, it's not the same actor the second time, so they won't remember. So it's kind of, anyway. So that one actor is the only one that knows that I told Mickey that I didn't like him. I liked Pluto. So, and then go ahead.
We told you last week about the return of H2O Glow Nights at, I was going to say Hollywood Studios, at Typhoon Lagoon.
It's near Hollywood Studios.
Is it really, though?
It's all on property.
Right. Yeah. Disney has updated that this week to notate that these events will be held every Saturday, starting May 28th and running through August 27th. Mm-hmm. It's from 8 to 11 p.m., but if you have a Typhoon Lagoon Hollywood,
if you have the H2O Glow Night ticket,
if you have an H2O Glow Night ticket, you can get into Typhoon Lagoon as early as 6 p.m.
Right.
Tickets are $75 for adults, $70 for children. Pass holders and DVC get them for $59 or $54 for a child.
Correct.
And when we went in 2019, tickets were $54 for adults. So this has only increased $5 in the 3 years with the multiple price increases and inflation. I'll take that. That's still a very fair price.
It is. And it's a fun event. And if you have the water park add-on, you can go much earlier than 6 o'clock.
Right.
So, and like Typhoon Lagoon is going to close at 7. So if you can go in at 6, it's still the day crowd that's there. They don't start putting out the fun
stuff.
Inner tubes. I couldn't think of the name of it. They don't put out, because they swap out the inner tubes in the lazy river with like really cool unicorns and turtles and stuff like that. Anyway, Earth Day announcement. There was a whole bunch of events announced for Earth Day, which is going to be taking place at Animal Kingdom from April 18th to April 24th. We will talk about more of those in next week's show, because there was just a whole big list of them.
Right. And then just today, March 25th, we're recording this.
We're recording early this week because we're going to be at Disney this weekend.
Yes.
So
Disney announced that the Cultural Representative Program, which brings in people from various countries, specifically and largely the ones that have pavilions in Epcot, will be returning. Due to travel restrictions and vaccine mandates, I guess, or vaccine requirements.
Yes.
This will be done in a phased approach, starting with Germany, Norway, Italy, the France, UK, and Canada.
What does that leave? That leaves Morocco.
That's 6 out of 11.
So it leaves Morocco,
Mexico,
Africa, which, I mean, I don't know that they have cultural representatives in Africa. Because it's really just a
right
refreshment stand. I know I'm missing something. Japan, China. Yeah. So basically, they're just all the white people. All the white people are coming back to the cultural representative program. So yes, go USA. I mean, it's true, right? What is that? Germany, Norway, Italy, France, UK, and Canada. Yeah, those are all the white countries. So not that there aren't black people in those countries.
We're gonna have to edit this entire segment out.
No, we're not. It's never mind. All right, here, let's get to that's the things that are happening this coming week in the Disneyverse. Now let's talk about things that we wanted to talk about on the show. That was a long segment.
That was a long segment.
I'm sorry. Here's the thing that just struck me today. Like I said, we're going to be at Disney this weekend for my birthday. So, but they're having an investor event is being hosted at Walt Disney World on Monday and Tuesday this coming week, which would be my birthday and the day after. And they're going to be touring the park. Now, the one thing we're going to be doing on Monday is taking the Keys of the Kingdom tour at the Magic Kingdom. So now I'm wondering, is Bob Chapek going to be on our Keys of the Kingdom tour? Like,
if Bob Chapek hasn't seen the Utilidors by this point.
No, but he's taking all the he's taking his like major investors and stuff. It's like, that would be cool to like be hobnobbing with, some hedge fund dude that owns like 20% of Disney. I don't know. Maybe we'll see Bob Chapek at the Keys of the Kingdom tour.
If we run into Bob Chapek, are you going to say anything?
Yes. I will say, can I take a picture with you? Keep in mind, I don't hate Bob Chapek. I'm like the one Disney fan that doesn't hate Bob Chapek. No, I would say I would be very Star Trek. I would want to shake his hand. I would want to take a selfie, even though we're not allowed to have cameras on the tour. So, can I take a selfie? Hey, you're not supposed to have a camera. Anyway, that was happening this week. The other thing, this is a quick hit here. There was a casting call that went out for the character lineup for the new show, which is called Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond at Animal Kingdom. And we got a little bit more information about it. So the show is going to be set in the timeline of Finding Dory instead of Finding Nemo, and it will place the guests, that will be us, guest, in the Marine Life Institute as the show begins, and we'll catch up with the fish from Dr. P. Sherman's office in Finding Nemo, who have made their way across the ocean to California. So they tell the story of Nemo and how they all got there, incorporating many of the beloved songs and production numbers from the original show. So kind of a reimagining of the original show, but with a lot of the same music.
And updating it to, be a little more current than Finding Nemo was.
But if you were worried at all that they were going to put all new characters in the show, they are casting for Bruce, Crush, Dory, Marlin, Nemo, Gil, and an ensemble. So those are the casting calls that they have out right now. So a lot of the same characters that we saw in the original Finding Nemo a musical. It's weird. I watched Finding Nemo the musical so many times at Animal Kingdom that like years later I watched Finding Nemo and I forgot it wasn't a musical. I'm like, where's the music? Hey, where's the music in this movie? That's crazy. It's great music. I love the music.
I didn't actually know until last August, I think, that they play some of the Finding Nemo music in the seas, like on the attraction.
Oh,
the attraction, if you can call it that.
It's an aquarium. It's an attraction.
But the little clamshells that take you to
but that's just
from whatever that was before.
It was Seabase Alpha, and it was like you landed in Seabase Alpha, and then you took they weren't clamshells; they were just cars that you took to get to the Seabase. But someone was complaining. What was it? There was some Disney blog had a comment about how the Living Seas was a horrible attraction. Like some guests said it was cheap and uninteresting. You should go to your local aquarium. It's like
we had what was it? A company event?
Yeah, we had a company event
at the Tampa Aquarium, and if you think the Seas with Nemo and Friends is lame,
no. Anyway, so let's get to the one thing that we decided that we did want to talk about this week. It was inspired by a tweet that we saw the other day that posed the musical questions. why is Magic Kingdom the one park that everyone knows, yet also the one park that has the worst dining options? We're talking specifically for sit-down restaurants,
Right.
for adults to sit down and eat. Why is the food in the Magic Kingdom so mediocre? And it's true. With very few exceptions, the food in the park at the Magic Kingdom is largely very bland. It's
safe.
uninspired. Yeah, it's very safe. However, I will say that some of the best restaurants on property are a very short walk out that gate. Like you could go to your left leaving and you could go to California Grill or to Steakhouse 71 over at the Contemporary. You can go to your right. You can go to Narcoossee's or Citrico's or even the Grand Floridian Cafe.
One of the best brunches on property.
Yeah. You could keep going down that path and you get to Ohana. It's like some of the best restaurants on property are, around the Seven Seas Lagoon, which is very, very close to the Magic Kingdom. But let's deconstruct this just a little bit. And this is all just theory crafting here, so we don't have any hard evidence to back this up. But my suspicion is that the reason that the Magic Kingdom is so mediocre in their food selections is a guest to restaurant ratio. So we've taken the time here to count up the restaurants in each theme park. So the Magic Kingdom has 8 sit-down restaurants. If you count Be Our Guest and what was the other one that was iffy? The Diamond Horseshoe. So Diamond Horseshoe is seasonal. It's not open all the time. And Be Our Guest is a sit-down restaurant now for dinner and lunch, but
Right.
it
used to be half and half.
It used to be a counter service for lunch and breakfast. So, but if you count those, there are 8 restaurants at the Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom pre-pandemic was seeing 21 million guests per year. So 8 restaurants for 21 million guests. Whereas you compare that to the park that most people would say has the best food, which is Epcot. Epcot's annual
Guest count,
it's in attendance, I guess what I want to say, is around 13 million. And they have how many restaurants?
18.
So 18 restaurants for 13 million people as opposed to 8 restaurants for 21 million people. I think it's just a matter of scale. It's the old adage that you can have cheap, fast, or quality. You can have any two. You can't have all 3. And so you have to have it fast because you've got to get food out. So, what's going to suffer is going to be the quality, right? It's definitely not cheap. So, but yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that's do you have any thoughts on it?
You brought up as well the fact that a lot or several of the Magic Kingdom restaurants share a kitchen.
Yes. And that is my belief from what I've heard. We'll find that out on the Keys of the Kingdom tour on Monday. So we'll actually be experts about it next time.
Experts.
Mm-hmm. But no, I believe that several like Skipper's Canteen and the Diamond Horseshoe and Columbia Harbor House, I think all share a kitchen. It's right there in Liberty Square. It's like under Liberty Square. That's the main kitchen that serves all of those restaurants. And I can't think if they serve anybody else. And I think Tony's, the Plaza, and the ones over there on Main Street also share a kitchen. But yeah, there's not a great restaurant choice at the Magic Kingdom. Skipper's is pretty close. Skipper's is very serviceable.
Yes, we've had good meals at Skipper Canteen. However, I think a lot of people, myself included, go there less for the food and more for just the theming, because that is one of the most well-themed restaurants on property. And it's got all the nods to the Jungle Cruise and all the hidden things you can find. You can spend, hours in there. Well,
Yeah.
you could if you weren't interrupting other people's meals by doing so. But, just looking around and seeing all the nods to the SEA and whatnot. So, but yeah, I think Skipper Canteen is probably our favorite sit-down restaurant at the Magic Kingdom.
Is it? I know it's not the greatest food in the world, but I do love me some Liberty Tree. So
Liberty Tree is good.
They got a good dessert. That ooey gooey toffee
the ooey
cake.
gooey toffee cake is good.
It's
Yes.
pretty good. But maybe that's what I was thinking. Is it Liberty Tree and Skipper's share a kitchen? I don't know. We'll find out on Monday. Or if you know, let us know. You can email us don'tdodisney@gmail.com, or if you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a message in the comments and tell us how wrong we are. Now, we could only come up with 8 restaurants at the Magic Kingdom, 8 sit-down restaurants at the Magic Kingdom. What the heck was that?
I have no idea.
Something just fell somewhere. We have no idea what it was. Okay, it's fine. Let's just no one's hurt. Let's just keep moving. 8 restaurants at the Magic Kingdom that we consider to be sit-down restaurants. They are Be Our Guest, Cinderella's Royal Table, Skipper's Canteen, Liberty Tree Tavern, Crystal Palace, Diamond Horseshoe, the Plaza Restaurant, and Tony's Town Square. So if you know that we missed one of those, we did. Crystal Palace? No, Crystal Palace is on there. Did we? Yeah, if you think that we missed a restaurant at Magic Kingdom, let us know.
I have a feeling that someone is going to come into the comments and correct you because I've heard you say it a bunch.
What?
It's Skipper Canteen, not Skipper's Canteen. It's
Is it
the
really?
Jungle Navigation Company Limited Skipper Canteen.
Wow! Today I learned. That was an ignorance on my part. I did not know that. Also, we've decided that Epcot has 18 restaurants after we've counted, and Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom both have 5. But Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom are the 3rd and 4th most attended theme parks as of 2019. So they just don't have.
Each of those parks, which are small, well, in Animal Kingdom's case, it's technically larger, which are smaller in terms of guest attendance, have almost as many restaurants as the Magic Kingdom.
Let me look here. Okay, you did count the Yak and Yeti at Animal Kingdom.
Yes, and I counted 2 restaurants in Animal Kingdom that are technically not Disney restaurants.
Yak and Yeti.
And Rainforest Cafe.
Oh, Rainforest Cafe. Okay. Yeah. And then, there's counter places at Animal Kingdom, right?
There's counter service at all 4 parks.
Yeah, well, I'm saying like Flame Tree is huge. It dominates one whole side of the park. So Flame Tree Barbecue. Satuli Canteen, which is great. All this, I don't know why we're talking about this. Nobody cares. So that's our belief as to why Magic Kingdom has the worst food of anybody else is because it just can't scale. Hey, if you have a very strong opinion about that one way or the other, then let us know. Let us know, and we want to hear about it so that we can talk about it, further.
I have a question.
Sure.
We have never, and probably will never, eat at Tony's Town Square. Because every single person I have ever heard talk about Tony's or write a review of Tony's has said it is terrible. Have you eaten at Tony's and had a good experience, or is it really just a Disney Olive Garden?
So you really want to know, does anyone actually like
Does anyone actually like Tony's Town Square?
We will, part of my birthday celebration is we're going to Cirque du Soleil on Saturday evening, and my brother and sister-in-law will be there who regularly eat at Tony's, so we can ask them. But then they're weird with their food anyway. They're not big, what foodies, right? So, and maybe, Tony's Town Square looks fun. It just looks very bland-ish Italian, I guess, kind of, Olive Garden kind of a thing, which nothing against the Olive Garden, but the Olive Garden doesn't cost $50 a plate. So
I don't know that Tony's does either, but
it's Disney. I think by the time you add in,
drinks, appetizers, etc.
Yeah. I've resigned myself. There's no way to get out of a Disney restaurant for less than $100 for 2 people. Just period. It's just, there isn't. It's like Flame Tree Barbecue, $100. It's just going to happen.
In what world have we ever spent $100 at Flame Tree?
Maybe I'm thinking of the Nomad Lounge. Anyway.
That doesn't count because it's alcohol, and Disney alcohol is always expensive.
Alcohol is always expensive, period.
Disney alcohol is more expensive.
Okay, let's get to the heroes and villains of the week so we can just put this to bed and get ourselves to Disney. This is an even number show, so we are starting with heroes, right?
I believe so.
Okay. My hero of the week is Zach Ridley, the Imagineer, who has been posting a whole bunch of behind the scenes information about Connections Cafe that they're building over at Epcot on his Instagram account. Just most recently, he posted a picture of the carpeting that's going to be in Connections Cafe and showed how it ties back into the original plans for Epcot that Walt used to show on the movie that they showed on Main Street USA, The City of Tomorrow. So I think that's kind of cool. He takes all these little things inside Connections Cafe and then just explains what the Imagineering thought was behind them and everything. It's really cool. So check it out on Instagram, Zach Ridley.
I believe he's the main Imagineer for Epcot, isn't he?
I would not know the answer to that. We'll say yes. He's the only one I know. How's that? So in my mind, he's the. See, I'm scared. If I say he is, then I'm wrong.
Anyway,
I don't want to do that. So who's your hero of the week?
My hero is Disney for bringing back the cultural representative program, because for a very long while, I mean, I know there's a global pandemic going on, but it very much seemed like it might have been a complete non-starter and dead in the water.
Yeah.
So glad to know it's coming back. And, you know, they're doing the responsible thing by making sure that people will be safe and coming back. So good on you, Disney.
It's a very different experience to go into the stores in Canada and talk to someone who's from Milwaukee than it is to talk to somebody who's from Toronto.
I mean, Milwaukee's in Wisconsin, which is basically Canada's backyard. So how about somebody from like Toledo?
Somebody from Celebration, Florida. So, my villain of the week is Disney for removing the Stitch's Great Escape signage from Tomorrowland. Not so much because they removed that signage as much as do something with that building. That building has been just this big vacant space sucker-upper for years now, since we looked it up, right? Stitches closed.
Stitches went seasonal in 2016
and it last ran in 2018.
Right.
But so it's just been sitting there for years, just kind of taking up space. And if you ever tried to walk down the main corridor of Tomorrowland with today's crowds, it's a very tight fit there. So it's like, you know, take it out.
It's almost as bad of a choke point as between Peter Pan and Small World.
It is. Yeah, that is a bad choke point. They could always just get rid of a Small World.
I apologize to everyone on the internet that he just offended by saying that.
It's small. It should be easy to move. It's a very small world after all.
I did notice several years ago that Disney did file some permits and paperwork to do something with that space. Maybe it was just, you know, electrical work and whatnot. But yeah, they really need to do something with that space because Tomorrowland doesn't have a whole lot.
No, it doesn't. As far as attractions in Tomorrowland nowadays, we have Space Mountain, Buzz Lightyear, the Monsters Laugh Floor, the
Astro
Orbiter, People Mover, and that's it, right?
I believe so.
It's like, I don't think the Raceway is technically considered.
It's got Tomorrowland in the name.
With the futuristic gas-powered cars that go around.
If Disney they should have used the time when the parks were closed.
Did I skip Space Mountain?
No, you said Space Mountain.
Okay, good.
They should have used the time not when the parks were closed, but when Speedway was down for clearing land for Tron to replace the cars with electric. And if they really, really, really want to lean into the whole Tomorrowland theme, electric cars are where we're going, people. So
yeah.
Also, that whole area smells like nasty gas.
And electric cars are so much easier to maintain than gas cars. There's fewer moving parts. Anyway, who's your villain of the week?
Disney's damnable advanced dining reservation system.
Yes.
There is absolutely zero reason why I need to get up at 6 a.m.
Oh, pardon me. I don't want you to have to get up at 6 a.m.
to get a damn dining reservation.
Now, to be fair, there are plenty of dining reservations.
There are, just not for the places that I want to go to.
But if you're trying to get a Space 220,
either the restaurant or the lounge,
a Topolino Terrace, or what was the other one that immediately goes away? Ohana.
Ohana, Royal Table.
But yeah, if you wanted to get, one of those three.
One of the very popular restaurants.
They sell out. Not sell, they're free, but they're gone. Those reservations are gone
within seconds.
Yeah. It's like you can get up at 6 a.m., hit that button, and still not get a Space 220 reservation. It's absolutely insane. I don't know what Disney can do about it. There's nothing to be done about it because it's supply and demand, right? It's a very small, Space 220 is not a very big restaurant. So there's very few tables in there and there's 13 million people coming up. Yep. Right. So, but yeah, I don't know. I wish there was some better way. Like,
I don't know what it would be. If you have a suggestion for what Disney could do to overhaul the dining reservation system. Although I'm now thinking, I saw somebody on Twitter bandied this about a few weeks ago, making you put a deposit down for the super popular restaurants. Like, you want this, pay us $20.
Yeah, I think as ADRs have gotten harder and harder to get, people just grab them as placeholders because you can cancel them up to a day before.
24 hours before your reservation.
Yeah. You can cancel with no penalty. So, you can cancel up to 24 hours before with no penalty.
And I believe you can hold multiple at once on the same day, as long as they don't overlap.
Well, and what you would do then is you'd have one person gets one reservation and you just don't put who your other party members are, right? So as long as you don't link them, then you could get one at the same time I have one, as long as we don't link each other to that particular reservation. But there's also ways around paying the $10, right? You can, a lot of times, I don't want to say a lot of times, I have heard before that some people will get a reservation at, let's say, Steakhouse 71 or Grand Floridian Cafe because they want to park closer to the kingdom so they don't have to take the monorail or the ferry or that whole business, right? They just want to walk into the kingdom.
One of the things when we went to Steakhouse 71 a couple months ago, maybe, and one of the things listed in the reviews, because I was looking up reviews to see if people really truly believed that the Steakhouse 71 Stack Burger was the best burger on property. And one of the reviews actually mentioned that you should get a reservation here just to park next to the Magic Kingdom.
But I mean, and that's fine. If you want to eat there and park, then fair, good for you. But what happens is people will get those restaurant reservations, and then instead of canceling them, that gets them into the parking lot because you can't park at the Contemporary or the Grand Floridian without a reservation or without being a hotel guest. So if you can show the guard up front that you have a dining reservation and you're on the list and you can get it. And what people will do is they'll go park there, and then instead of canceling their dinner reservation, or their lunch reservation, what they'll just do is they'll modify it and move it to a week later or 2 weeks later, and then they can cancel that one without a penalty. So
don't know.
There's too many holes in the system.
I feel like they may have fixed that because I don't think you can modify it if you're within 24 hours.
Oh, well, then that would be good. Although still, it's cheaper to pay $10 to park than it is to pay $25 to park if you're
$10 a person.
I didn't think of that. All right, fine. But still, that's a very small subset of people, right? Most people are not getting dining reservations there to park. I feel like most people are getting dining reservations there because they know that it's incredibly difficult to get a dining reservation, so they just overbook. And then they let them go later when they have more concrete plans as to where they're going to go. Anyway, if you've got ideas about how to make the dining reservation, I think one thing, I know we're going over, but I just want to say one thing that I think might be helpful is for it not to be 6 a.m. in the U.S. Like 6 a.m. for us is 11 a.m. for London. So it's much easier for overseas people to get those ADRs because they're up and doing things.
They're awake. I'm not awake at 6 a.m.
I kind of wish that the ADRs would release later in the day, maybe even 9 o'clock
9 a.m.,
Pacific,
10 a.m.
Pacific time. So it's like more noon East Coast time. And then it would only be like 4 p.m. London time. But then we would all have a better shot at it, I think, but that may even make it worse. So I don't know. If you know, then let us know and we'll pick it apart right here. All we're trying to say is basically, don't do Disney
without us.